Pink roses scattered across my hardwood floor. The frosting from my baby shower cake ground into the boards I polished yesterday. My mom-to-be banner lay trampled beneath muddy sneakers while Austin's friends posed for selfies with their Princeton banners. I stood frozen in the doorway of my own living room, one hand pressed against my swollen belly, watching the careful decorations I'd arranged at dawn disappear under a sea of orange and black. An hour earlier, everything had been perfect. I smoothed the linen tablecloth, adjusted the flower arrangement one last time, and checked my phone. 2:15. My small gathering of friends would arrive soon for an intimate celebration. After 8 months of doctor's appointments and prenatal classes alone, I'd finally have a moment that was just about me and my daughter. The doorbell chimed. Sarah from my prenatal yoga class stood on the porch holding a gift wrapped in pink paper. My first real guest. The joy bubbling in my chest surprised me. I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt this light. You look amazing, Sarah said, hugging me carefully around my belly. The house is beautiful. Did you make all these decorations yourself? I nodded, pride warming my cheeks. The paper flowers had taken weeks to craft between managing my business and the constant fatigue of pregnancy. But seeing them cascade down the walls in shades of pink and pearl made every late night worth it. More friends arrived, filling my living room with gentle chatter and genuine smiles. No one asking me to fix things, solve problems, or make everything perfect. Just warmth and celebration, and the front door banged open. Mom and Dad burst in, 45 minutes late, Dad clutching a mysterious box he wouldn't let me see. Sorry we're delayed, honey. Mom's voice carried that familiar dismissive tone. Traffic was terrible, but we have such exciting news. My stomach clenched. I knew that tone. I tried to redirect, gesturing toward the cake I'd spent hours decorating. We were just about to start the... Everyone, Dad's voice boomed through the room. Special announcement. The conversation died. My friends shifted uncomfortably. I gripped the back of a chair, my knuckles white. Austin strode through the door, his Princeton acceptance letter held high like a torch. Mom burst into tears, the same tears that hadn't appeared when I told them I was pregnant. He did it, she sobbed. My brilliant boy got into Princeton. My friends exchanged glances. Sarah reached for my hand, but Austin's crowd surged through the door behind him, shoving past us with their banners and phones and loud congratulations. Someone knocked over my carefully arranged gift table. No one noticed. I retreated to the kitchen, my hands shaking as I gathered scattered plates. Dishes clinked in the sink as I scrubbed frosting from porcelain, trying to steady my breathing. A friend I couldn't remember touched my shoulder. Are you okay? Before I could answer, Austin's voice rang out from the living room, launching into the story of his acceptance. My friend drifted away, drawn by his magnetic pull. Always his magnetic pull. My hand found my belly, cradling the daughter who kicked against my ribs. We deserve better than this, I whispered. The words surprised me. I'd never said them aloud before. A crash from the living room. One of Austin's friends stumbled backward into my welcome baby girl banner, red Solo cup upending across the delicate paper letters I'd cut by hand. Don't worry about it, Mom called from her perch on my sofa. Just things. I knelt despite my aching back, blotting at the stain with paper towels. No one offered to help. No one even seemed to see me on my hands and knees, 8 months pregnant, cleaning up their mess. We always knew Austin would make something of himself. Dad's voice carried from the cluster of admirers. Princeton, can you believe it? I pushed myself up slowly, one hand braced against the wall. The nursery beckoned my sanctuary these past months. I slipped away while they celebrated, closing the door behind me. The afternoon sun filtered through gauzy curtains, casting gentle shadows across the crib I'd assembled alone. The same day I'd built it, I'd had my 20-week ultrasound. Mom and Dad had been too busy touring colleges with Austin to come. I sank into the rocking chair, my grandmother's letter tucked in the cushion where I'd hidden it months ago. Her spidery handwriting spoke across the years. My dearest Colleen, There comes a time when protecting what matters means standing up to those who never thought you would. Laughter erupted from my hijacked celebration. But this time, instead of shrinking from the sound, I felt something crystallize inside me, a clarity I'd never known. The choice stretched before me like a forked path. Would I continue to clean up their messes, to make myself smaller so they could shine? Or would I finally stand up for myself, for my daughter? Tomorrow would be different. But how far would I go? I pressed my palm against the wall of my nursery, feeling the solid reality of this house I'd bought with my own money, this life I'd built despite them. My daughter kicked again, stronger this time. And I knew I would go as far as I had to. I didn't. I'm even go back to this new party, the college entrance celebration, but remained in that closed room until the last of the guests went home and went to sleep. I had a plan in my mind, and from tomorrow morning I was resolute to achieve this new goal I have set. But why I don't know today, I will encounter tomorrow, as my family has another weapon to use. The morning sun glinted off shattered glass in my kitchen sink. Princeton brochures fanned across my counter, their glossy pages stuck together with dried cake frosting. My fingertips traced the edges of acceptance letters and campus maps, each one a testament to yesterday's coup of my baby shower. A receipt fluttered from between view books showing idyllic stone buildings. The paper crinkled as I smoothed it flat. Application fees, campus visit expenses, testing costs all charged to a credit card I didn't recognize. My credit card. My hand trembled as I pulled open my desk drawer. Bank statements spilled out, their neat organization destroyed. Red ink circled withdrawal after withdrawal. My mother's curving signature redirecting funds from my business account to her personal shopping. An old mason jar rolled against my fingers, hidden beneath tax forms. Inside, a yellowed receipt from 6 years ago. My first month's rent for that cramped studio apartment where I'd slept on a futon while paying off my parents' credit card debt. The jar clinked as I set it aside, revealing a stack of tutoring invoices for Austin. Private SAT prep, college counseling, writing coaches all quietly drawn from my business profits while he dismissed my work as cute crafts. My phone buzzed. Sarah's text glowed on the screen. "How are you feeling after yesterday?" Before I could respond, another message appeared. "Dr. Martinez, blood pressure concerns from last visit. Can you come in this week?" A third notification. An email from Linda, my most loyal customer. The one who happened to be a family attorney. The floor creaked behind me. "Sweetheart?" My mother's voice dripped honey. "Austin's friends need somewhere to stay this summer. You have so much space here." I turned slowly, one hand pressed against my lower back. Mom stood in the doorway wearing her favorite manipulation smile, the one that said I'd always been unreasonable if I refused her anything. "And we'll need the nursery for temporary storage," my father added from the hall. "Just Austin's call supplies, you understand." Their voices drifted through the house as they walked away, planning which of Austin's Princeton friends would take which rooms next fall. My rooms. My house. The home I'd purchased after working 60-hour weeks for 3 years. The baby kicked hard against my ribs. I sank into my office chair, pulling up eviction notice templates on my computer. My printer hummed, spitting out 3 copies. Official language about termination of residency and required vacancy filled the pages. My signature wavered on the first notice, steadied on the second, turned firm on the third. "This isn't just about me anymore," I whispered, touching my belly where my daughter grew. The child they'd dismissed with, "At least someone will keep you company," when I'd announced my pregnancy. The sealed envelope sat on my kitchen table like bombs waiting to detonate. But what I didn't know then, what I couldn't have known, was that my family had already been through my computer while I slept. The war had begun before I fired my first shot. Inside my quiet house, the only sound was the slow tick of the grandfather clock I'd restored myself. Each second marked the distance between the daughter I'd been and the mother I needed to become. I picked up my phone again, opened the email from Linda. Her words glowed on the screen. Let me know if you need legal advice about your situation. I've seen this before. You're not alone. Not alone. The words echoed as I looked around my office. Every surface held evidence of their exploitation. The desk I'd refinished while they complained about the dust, the bookshelf sagging under Austin's college preparation materials, the filing cabinet where I'd documented years of financial drain. My gaze fell on a photo tucked into my mirror frame. Me at 17, acceptance letter to art school clutched in my hands. The dreams in my eyes still bright, before they convinced me it was selfish to pursue them. Before they explained how Austin's education had to come first. The front door slammed. Austin's voice carried up the stairs as he invited more friends over, casual as an owner rather than a guest. Yeah, just crash here, my sister won't mind. My fingers traced the envelope's edges. The papers inside represented more than just eviction notices. They were declarations of independence. Promises to my unborn daughter that she would never learn to make herself smaller for someone else's comfort. A text lit up my phone. My business partner. Saw some weird emails going out to clients. Did you authorize any account changes? My throat tightened. Of course they'd try to access my business. They'd always seen my success as a resource to exploit rather than an achievement to celebrate. The baby kicked again, stronger this time. I pressed my palm against the spot, feeling her fierce movement. I know, little one, I whispered. Mommy's done being invisible. I slipped the notices into my purse. Each one weighted with 34 years of sacrifices. Tomorrow they would be delivered. Tomorrow everything would change. But tonight, I had preparations to make. Security cameras to order, passwords to change, a nursery to protect. The sun set behind my window, casting long shadows across the floor. In the growing darkness, I finally saw what had been invisible in the light. I wasn't just fighting for my home or my business. I was fighting for my daughter's future. And this time, I wouldn't back down. The sound of my mother sobbing carried through the air vents. I braced one hand against my lower back, shifted my weight on the office chair, and kept typing. 7 days had passed since I'd slipped those eviction notices under their doors, and her performances grew more dramatic by the hour. She's cutting us off from everything we've built together. Mom's voice cracked with practiced precision. I recognized the tone from countless childhood moments when she'd called relatives about my concerning behavior. Like the time I'd suggested applying to art school instead of the local business college. Through my open window, car doors slammed. More relatives arriving for the impromptu family meeting I hadn't been invited to attend. My phone buzzed with a text from my business partner, Rachel. Those emails to our clients didn't come from our system, but the writing style matches your mother's Christmas letters perfectly. My hands clenched. Not content with hijacking my baby shower, they'd tried accessing my client database. The familiar urge to smooth things over, to make peace at any cost, pressed against my chest. But my daughter kicked, a sharp reminder of why I couldn't back down. I pulled up the security camera feed I'd installed in my home office 3 days ago. The timestamp showed 2:47 a.m., my father shuffling through my filing cabinet while Mom kept watch in the hallway. Their whispered conversation crystal clear through the microphone. Find anything about the business accounts? Not yet, but she has to have paper records somewhere. A printer hummed downstairs, spitting out bank statements I'd gathered over the past week. Evidence of their creative bookkeeping spanning back 5 years. The file folder grew thicker by the day. Heavy footsteps thundered past my door. Austin, practicing his door slams like a teenager instead of a Princeton-bound adult. She's lost her mind, he shouted to whoever would listen. It's those pregnancy hormones. You know how women get. The irony might have made me laugh if I wasn't so tired. He'd used the same excuse when I caught him borrowing my credit card for application fees last fall. My phone buzzed again. Dr. Martinez. Blood pressure still elevated. Daily monitoring starts Monday. Document all stress triggers. Below her message, a text from Sandra, my longest-running client. Brought you dinner. It's by the back door. Don't answer if you're resting." The doorbell chimed before I could respond. Aunt Caroline's voice drifted up. "Beth, where should we gather?" "The living room," Mom replied, tears magically gone. "She'll have to face us there." I touched the manila envelope on my desk, heavy with bank records. Time to show them exactly what family meant to the people who claimed to love me most. My bones ached as I pushed myself up, back protesting 8 months of extra weight. The hallway stretched like a gauntlet between my office and the ambush waiting below. The folder pressed against my chest, a shield of paper and ink. They fell silent when I appeared in the doorway. 12 faces turned toward me, expressions ranging from concern to confusion to outright hostility. Mom perched on the edge of my sofa, tissue crushed in her manicured hands. "Oh, sweetheart," her voice wavered. "We're so worried about you. Throwing your family out on the street? This isn't like you at all." I stepped into the room. "You're right, it's not like me, that's exactly the problem." "Now, Colleen." Dad shifted into his reasonable voice, the one he used when explaining why my business account had mysterious withdrawals. "We know you're under a lot of stress. Pregnancy does strange things to a woman's mind. We're here to help you think clearly." Austin lounged against the wall, arms crossed. "Yeah, sis. What happened to family loyalty?" The words struck like physical blows, each one designed to make me doubt myself. How many times had they used my own conscience against me? I moved to the coffee table, set down my folder. The room held its breath. "Let me show you what family loyalty looks like." My voice came out steady as I spread papers across the polished wood. Credit card statements. Mom using my business account for shopping sprees at Nordstrom. Bank transfers Dad authorized without my knowledge. Austin's forged checks from my personal account. Aunt Caroline leaned forward, squinting at the numbers. Her sharp intake of breath cut through Mom's stammered protests. "Oh my God." Caroline's whisper carried in the sudden silence. "Beth, what have you done?" I stood straighter, one hand cradling my belly. This isn't about one party. This is about 34 years of invisibility. The Christmas memory surfaced. 12-year-old me unwrapping thick wool socks while Austin tore into a brand new computer. Mom's dismissive, "You're always cold anyway, dear," when my face fell. "I'm not invisible anymore." My voice strengthened with each word. "And neither is my daughter." I left them staring at the evidence of their betrayal. Upstairs, my laptop pinged with an alert from the new security system. Motion detected in the home office. They never could take no for an answer. But what my family didn't realize as they plotted in the kitchen that night was that I had already anticipated their next move. The email to my business clients wasn't the worst betrayal they'd attempted, but the evidence of what they'd done next was already safely in my lawyer's hands. They thought pregnancy made me weak. They were about to learn it had made me fierce instead. With the accusations and evidence, that gathering was over, and in the following 2 weeks I was busy collecting more evidence and predicting their next moves to defend myself and my daughter. My fingers hovered over the keyboard as the clock struck midnight. 14 days since I'd handed them the eviction notices. The soft glow of my laptop screen illuminated the dark kitchen while Claire kicked against my ribs, as if encouraging me forward. I typed in the new master password for my business accounts, something they'd never guess, Claire 2024. The irony made me smile as I pictured Mom's frustration when her usual password recovery tricks failed. The doorbell camera arrived yesterday in a plain brown box. I'd waited until they left for Austin's college counseling appointment to install it, my swollen fingers struggling with the tiny screws. Now it's quiet I watched the front porch, catching every visitor who might later claim they never got the notice. Sarah from prenatal yoga helped me pack an emergency bag. It sat in my car trunk, ready if they escalated beyond what I could handle. "Just in case," she'd said, squeezing my hand. "Though from what I've seen, you're 3 steps ahead of them already." The bank manager's expression had hardened when I showed her the unauthorized transfers. "Mrs. Grant," she'd said, using Mom's preferred title. Accessed your business account 6 times last month. She'd pulled up the security footage without my asking. We'll flag any future attempts. A door creaked upstairs. I closed my laptop, sliding it into its hiding spot behind the cookbooks. Mom's footsteps paused at the top of the stairs. I just don't understand, her voice carried down, thick with tears. After everything we've sacrificed for her. Mrs. Peterson next door had stopped bringing Mom her usual morning coffee. The weekly garden club meeting had accidentally been rescheduled without notice. Mom's phone calls for sympathy now went straight to voicemail. The security system chimed softly as Dad tried to access my office computer remotely. The alert popped up on my phone. Unauthorized login attempt from network printer. He'd always thought he was cleverer than he was. This is ridiculous, Austin's voice boomed through the house last night, making me jump. I have to live here, my Princeton friends are counting on it. The neighbors' porch lights had flicked on one by one. Through the new doorbell camera, I watched Mrs. Peterson step onto her front lawn in her robe, phone raised to record his outburst. Your sister's just being hormonal, Mom had stage whispered, too loud to be private. We'll handle it like we always do. But their usual tactics weren't working anymore. The building inspector had traced their anonymous complaint back to Dad's laptop. The church gossip they tried to spread came back to Pastor Mike, who spent an hour in my kitchen drinking tea and studying my calm responses to their provocations. Mental instability, Mom had whispered to the church ladies after Sunday service. But they'd seen me every week, watched me grow my business, noticed how I maintained my home while the rest of my family treated it like a hotel. Such a shame, Mrs. Peterson told her garden club friends, loud enough to carry through my open window. The way they've taken advantage, and her condition. My business partner documented every threatening email they sent to our clients. My doctor added notes about their impact on my blood pressure. The local police did routine wellness checks, marking down each time Austin slammed doors or Dad made veiled threats about my fitness as a mother. 21 days in, their social circle crumbled. Mom's tears didn't move people like they used to. Dad's country club membership lapsed due to incomplete payment. Austin's Princeton contacts started asking questions about his living situation. The arguments leaked through their bedroom walls each night, getting louder as their options dwindled. Dad's resignation letter from the country club board landed in my mailbox by mistake. Mom's voice grew shrill as cousin after cousin refused to take them in. They have to let us stay, Austin had insisted yesterday, pacing the kitchen. Where else would we go? I touched my belly, feeling Claire's steady movements. That stopped being my problem the day you turned my baby shower into your Princeton party. Mom's sobs echoed from upstairs, but they didn't move me anymore. The sound of Dad's pacing followed, then Austin's door slamming. They were running out of performances, running out of audience, running out of time. I'd thought I was ready for anything they might try in these final days. But when I checked the mail that morning, a heavy envelope bearing Princeton's crest made my heart skip. Not addressed to Austin, but to me. The truth was about to change everything, and not in the way anyone expected. I slipped the letter into my desk drawer, next to the stack of documentation I'd been gathering. The midnight hours of the past week stretched behind me like a long, dark road I'd finally finished walking. This time, too, at midnight, a text lit up my phone. You okay? Need anything? Sarah's concern warmed me. I had more real family now than I'd ever had growing up in this house. All good, I typed back. Just waiting for the right moment. Upstairs, Austin's pacing stopped. In the sudden silence, I heard Mom whisper, "What if she actually goes through with it?" I rested my hand on my belly, feeling Claire's answering kick. We both knew the truth. I already had. In the following days, small boxes cluttered the hallway outside my bedroom door. A handmade quilt, folded with precision. A photo album from my childhood. Austin's worn baseball glove from Little League. Silent offerings left while I slept, each item weighted with unspoken pleas. I nudged the boxes aside with my foot. 27 days since serving the eviction notice. 3 more until they had to leave. Colleen? My mother's voice drifted from the kitchen, softer than usual. I made your favorite pancakes. The scent of cinnamon and butter filled the air, a peace offering served on china plates. I pressed my hand against my swollen belly, steadying myself against the wall. The baby kicked, as if sensing my hesitation. Just wanted to talk, Mom said. As a family. I found them arranged around my kitchen table like a Norman Rockwell painting. Dad in his Sunday best, hands folded. Mom wearing her pearl necklace, the one reserved for special occasions. Austin in a pressed button-down, his phone nowhere in sight. Please sit, Mom said, pulling out my usual chair. The syrup's still warm. I remained standing. What's this about? We've been thinking. Dad cleared his throat. About everything that's happened. Maybe we all got caught up in the excitement about Princeton. The baby shower. Mom's eyes glistened. We should have celebrated your special day. Austin stared at his plate. I'm sorry about my friends, the mess they made. Pretty words. Rehearsed contrition. But something in Austin's voice caught my attention, a tremor of genuine fear. I want to be a good uncle, he continued. When the baby comes. The doorbell cut through his practiced speech. A quick series of chimes followed by pounding. Miss Grant? A man's voice called through the door. Princeton Office of Admissions. The blood drained from Austin's face. Mom's fork clattered against china. I opened the door to find a man in a charcoal suit, manila envelope in hand. Miss Grant? I'm Thomas Weber, Assistant Dean of Admissions. We've been trying to reach Austin Grant. Dad appeared behind me. I'm Austin's father. Is there a problem? Mr. Weber's expression remained neutral. We need to discuss some irregularities in Austin's application materials. The envelope contained a single sheet of letterhead. I scanned the carefully worded paragraphs while my family held their breath. Scholarship revoked. My voice carried through the silent house. Due to falsified community service hours and forged recommendation letters. Mom sank into a chair. Dad's jaw clenched. But that's impossible, Austin protested. Those hours were real. Dad signed. He stopped suddenly, horror dawning in his eyes. I pulled my laptop from the kitchen counter, opening a folder labeled Insurance. Email threads appeared on screen, bank transfers, scanned documents with identical signatures. You didn't just steal my baby shower. The words emerged calm, precise. You've been stealing my life. Now wait a minute. Dad's voice rose. We gave you life. You owe us everything. If you loved us, you wouldn't do this. Mom's tears flowed freely now. After everything we've sacrificed. Love doesn't take. I touched my belly, feeling my daughter's steady kicks. It builds. Austin slumped forward, elbows on the table. They made me do it, said we needed a success story for the family. Contest the house ownership. Dad jabbed his finger toward me. We've lived here, contributed. Contributed? I clicked through bank statements. You mean the money you took from my business account for application fees? The credit cards opened in my name? We just thought. Mom's voice cracked. We just thought you'd always take care of us. The morning light streamed through my kitchen windows, illuminating dust motes and tired faces. My family sat before me, masks finally stripped away. And who was supposed to take care of me? Silence filled the room. Even the baby stilled, as if holding her breath. 3 days. I gathered the Princeton letter and my laptop. You have 3 days to leave. The movers arrive Monday morning. You can't, Dad started. I already have. I walked to the door, then turned back one final time. The police will be here to supervise the move. I suggest you start packing. Mom's sobs followed me down the hallway. Austin's muffled cursing, Dad's heavy footsteps pacing the kitchen floor. But for the first time in 34 years, their voices didn't reach inside me. Didn't wrap around my heart and squeeze. In the nursery, morning sunlight painted the walls in shades of pink and gold. I sank into the rocking chair, one hand resting on my belly. It's just us now, little one, My whisper carried a lifetime of certainty. And that's exactly enough. Behind me, drawers slammed in the guest room. Closet doors banged open and shut, the sounds of a family imploding. But in this room, in this moment, I felt only peace. We'd survived the worst storm. Whatever came next, we'd weather it together. Mother and daughter, building something new from the ashes of what burned away. 4 years later, the morning sun spilled through spotless windows, catching the sparkle of Claire's craft glitter scattered across my kitchen table. My 4-year-old daughter bent over her latest masterpiece, tongue poking out in concentration as she pressed another sequin into place. "Look, Mommy." She held up a birthday crown fashioned from construction paper and pure imagination. "For my party." I touched the careful rows of gems she'd arranged in a pattern only she understood. 4 years ago, I would have straightened them, trying to impose order on her creativity the way my mother had always done to mine. Now I simply smiled. "It's perfect exactly how you made it." The doorbell chimed. Sarah from my old prenatal yoga class, now my chief operations officer, walked in, carrying streamers in Claire's chosen colors, purple and silver. My breath caught for a moment at the memory of pink roses ground into hardwood, but the feeling passed like a leaf on the wind. "The decorating crew has arrived," Sarah announced, setting down her bags. Behind her, 3 more friends filed in with supplies. The same living room that had once witnessed my baby shower now hummed with genuine warmth and laughter. "I help too." Claire scrambled down from her chair, leaving a trail of glitter in her wake. She tugged at my hand. "Show them my special job." I led the group to our craft room, once my home office. The walls displayed framed magazine features about hearth and hand designs, now a nationwide brand. But pride of place belonged to Claire's artwork gallery, refreshed weekly with her latest creations. "Claire designed all the place cards for today," I explained, watching my daughter carefully distribute paper hearts she'd painted herself. "She picked everyone's colors. Purple for Mama because it's strong," Claire informed them seriously, "and silver for Dr. Amy because she makes people better." My old obstetrician, now just Amy, would arrive later as a guest, not a medical professional. The family attorney who'd handled the eviction had become Uncle James, expert tickle monster and tea party participant. Back in the kitchen, I found an envelope propped against the coffee maker. Another letter from the young mother in Seattle who'd read about my foundation in Parents magazine. The organization had started small, just me sharing business advice with other women leaving toxic situations. Now we had chapters in 12 cities. "Mama, can I put the sparkles on the cake?" Claire's voice pulled me back to the present. She stood on her step stool, eyeing the 3-tiered creation I'd baked yesterday. "Of course, baby." I steadied her as she carefully placed sugar crystals around the edges. Her small hands moved with more confidence than mine had shown at 30. The afternoon filled with the happy chaos of a 5-year-old's birthday party. Claire led her guests in an impromptu dance performance. My business partner's son shared his juice box without prompting. The attorney's daughter showed off her missing front tooth. I caught glimpses of my past self in quiet moments, straightening a crooked streamer, wiping a smudge from the counter. But the need for perfection had softened into appreciation for these imperfect, joyful moments. Later, as Claire blew out her candles in a shower of sparkles, someone snapped a photo. I'd frame it next to the small memory box in my bedroom, the one containing selected photographs and the letter my grandmother had written so long ago. Claire would read it someday, when she asked the right questions. For now, she knew the simple version. Some families were born, and some families were chosen. Ours was both. "Story time," Claire announced after cake, retrieving her favorite book from the shelf. One about the brave princess who built her own castle. My friends settled their children on the floor around my rocking chair, the same one where I'd first whispered promises to my unborn daughter. "Once upon a time," I began. Claire snuggled against my chest. "There was a princess who learned that real love builds things up. It doesn't tear them down." Claire knew this story by heart. "Like you and me, Mama. We build good things." My chosen family filled the room with warmth. Their children sprawled across the rug in various states of sugar-induced contentment. The walls no longer echoed with manipulation and guilt. No one here would ever tell Claire her dreams were impractical, or her art was just cute. The light caught the silver streamer Claire had hung slightly crooked above the window. I left it exactly as she'd placed it, beautiful in its imperfection. Some might call it cruel, closing the door on blood ties. But I'd learned that respect, like love, should flow both ways. Claire would grow up knowing her worth wasn't measured by what she gave others. She would never learn to make herself smaller so someone else could feel big. Again, Mama? Claire requested as I closed the book. The castle part? I pulled her closer, breathing in the scent of birthday cake and glitter glue. Once upon a time, there was a princess who discovered that building something new was better than fixing something broken.